What's the latest?
Well, 5 dead, likely more. Just complete and utter devastation. I've been in a lot of these fires, a lot, going back to Paradise, and this approximates Paradise. It's not a numeric, it's just a feeling, sense of loss, place, belonging.
Still no containment.
No, we're at zero containment. The winds have been a little bit more favorable, as you've seen in the last few hours. So we've got the helicopters back up. We've got some fixed-wing aircraft. Out on the coasts, it's a little different. It's pretty intense. We have 23 aerial assets just at the Palisades, but a lot of them are not operational because of those winds. So it's a combination of challenges. That said, we've depleted all our resources. Northern California, we'd already pre-positioned on Sunday. Hundreds of personnel, special units, water tenders, dozers, engines, helicopters, and it wasn't enough. And now we're getting the mutual aid system, the EMAC system. Governors from all across the country are calling. Oregon sending a few dozen engines, and in Arizona, Utah. We're just grateful for all the support.
A lot of these firefighters I was talking to on the street, they've been working 26, 27 hours. Are they that's just going to continue? I mean, there's enough folks here.
Yeah, I mean, we got a few thousand people working on this, and luckily we were fully staffed. The U.S. Forest Service is staffed up traditionally at this time of year. Remember, we're in January.
It's supposed to be wet this time of year.
It's supposed to be wet. I mean, so this is anomalous. Even I remember Paradise happened in November. I mean, so there's no fire season in California. It's year round, but to have this level, the acuity of fires is without precedent. These winds are without precedent, and the challenge is these winds are going to continue on and off, a little bit less intense. Last night, you got 80, 90-mile-an-hour winds. These guys were just up there to try to mitigate the embers going 2 miles and getting just to go a quarter of a mile to try to save some.
What is the situation with the water? Obviously, in Palisades, it ran out last night in the hydrants. I was talking to the firefighter on this block. Yeah. They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just when you have a system that's not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large-scale fires, whether it be pipe, electricity, or whether it just be the complete overwhelm of the system. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe 1 fire. You have something at this scale, but again, that's going to be determined by the local
authorities. Were saying part of it is the gravity, that it's these giant tanks on top of the mountains, which...
Yeah, well, they're going down. We were just with the team. They're getting the tenders down to Pasadena, filling things back up, coming back up. So it's just
Are aerial assets now able to fly?
Yeah, they've been the last few hours, particularly helicopters. Fixed wings been up a little bit earlier, but out on the coast it's been a little more stubborn because those winds are swirling. The challenge is, you can see that they can fly. It's not a question of turbulence or anything else. It's just the mitigation's flying all over the place, so it doesn't have any benefit necessarily. So we've got National Guard working the rattlesnake teams out there on the line. We're also trying to bring them in to supplement some of the law enforcement efforts as well. It's all hands on deck across the spectrum. The biggest thing, though, Anderson, that happened today, sincerely, and you can appreciate in a community like this, to get that direct individual assistance with the major disaster declaration within 36 hours of this incident from the president was a game changer for this community, for small businesses, et cetera. So not that we're thinking about the next phase, but we have to be thinking concurrently about the next phase is how we rebuild this community. But right now we're in this mitigation phase. We're in the public safety phase.
I hate to even ask this question, but the president-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
One can't even respond to it. I mean, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to a president of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden. And he had the backs of every single person in this community. He didn't play politics, didn't try to divide any of us.
Finally, your message to the folks here, to this community.
I mean, we have their backs, and we're going to be back. And this is going to be a long recovery process. But look, we have residents moving back into Paradise, California. I've seen remarkable recovery efforts. I've seen remarkable sense of community, purpose, resilience. So, I'm not just playing the politician role of optimism. I really am long-term optimistic. But the devastation to hear people wailing and crying, concerned about their pet, their family, they're just bewildered about what they're experiencing. And again, not just experience. I was not talking past tense. This is happening in real time. 0% containment.